All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the absolutely the first time I'm recording this class today. After showing the answers to the quiz it's due on Sunday. Okay, so your upcoming assignment is going to be doing a storybook on Scratch, and as I said during this semester, we're going to be doing probably one programming assignment every other week for the whole semester. And this one is always one of my favorite ones to give in this class because it gives you an opportunity to basically make a movie in Scratch. And the theme of the movie must be using one of the ethical systems that we've talked about in class. So if you like Kantian ethics, then the moral of the story should be something that comes from a deontological perspective. Whereas if you like consequentialism, you can have a cat say, "Oh, it would be ethically wrong for you to eat all these ducks, Mister Coyote, because you're going to be inflicting more pain than pleasure that you get," and things like that. So basically, you're making a story, a moral story, like an Aesop's fable kind of thing, for a fifth grader. And so in it, you must have three characters that move around and say things. That's each one of these things, by the way, is a letter grade. So if you have two characters, then you're gonna not get that letter grade. If they don't move, you're not going to get that letter grade. If they don't say things, you're not going to get that letter grade. But the good news is that's really easy to do, and so that's everybody should at least get a C on this assignment. All you have to have is three characters to just move, and then yay. But go for an A. It's not a hard assignment. So you must have two backdrops, and the backdrops must switch in the middle of the story. So let me show you how to do that. So if we're over here, let's see. Yeah. So I was playing Eminem's "Lose Yourself" before class. So we got a Scratch project here that I'm calling Mom Spaghetti, and and so how do you switch backgrounds? Let's see, events. When the green flag is clicked, remember the green flag is when the program begins. Looks switch backdrop, and so you might have to add some backdrops using the add backdrop button down here. And if you go click on backdrops here, you can see I've got two backdrops here, one for basketball, one for baseball. And let's go back to her. Who was I on? Okay, Calvert. Sure, whatever. Okay, so switch backdrop to basketball one, or you can have it go to next backdrop if you want. And so every time you hit play now, it's going to switch to backdrops. There you go. The only kicker is that this backdrop switch must take place somewhere in the middle of your minute-long movie that you're making. So it's a scene change, right? So they're starting off at the b-ball court, and then when the thing begins, it's at the b-ball court, and then 20 seconds in, it switches to the baseball field. I don't know. Yeah. So what are we going to do, and how are we going to do it? So we're going to have three characters move around, talking to each other, telling a story. And the way that some students try to do this is they do something like this. They say, when you click the green flag, I'm going to have you... one of the things you should always do is when the green flag is clicked, reset the position. So that if you move around... So for each one of the actors, you also have to do this. Go to next. The good news is the X and Y coordinates are filled in for wherever you are on the screen. So there. And so if these things move, when you hit play again, they'll reset to the starting position every time. So if they move in the course of the animation, you can just hit play again, and they'll reset back to wherever they were before. So Hit play, and boom, they're all back in the starting location again. This is how I recommend you guys start Scratch projects. When the green flag is clicked, have everything reset back to normal. Have the background, switch back to whatever is starting background you want. You tell the characters are nervous, but on the surface they look calm already. Brilliant, Jeanette. So we want these guys to like walk around and talk and things like that. It's like maybe we'll have a Nina dance here. Okay, I'll have her animate a little bit. We'll go to the next costume, and then we'll have her glide to a position. Actually, let's do this. I'm gonna drag her. Watch how this works. And then when you do the glide, it has that new position filled in. And then I'll drag her over here and have her go to the next costume again. I should probably reset her costume as well. All right, I was going to glide another time. Let's see, what's a good one? That next costume doesn't do anything. So we will then drag her over here and glide to here, and then next costume, and then glide to here, and do a next costume. And so you do a little animation. She goes there, she goes there, she goes there, right? Dancing around on the b-ball court. Yeah, that's what we're talking about today, Levi. We're going to be talking about how to do event-driven programming, which is actually something a lot of even experienced computer science people don't know about, because when you write programs for your computer science classes, typically you start at the top of like main, and then you just solve the problem until you finish, and then you quit. In the real world, though, you don't. I mean, you write code that way, but like there's a different way of thinking about programming, which is to say when something happens, do something. So when the green flag is clicked, do something. When you click on the help menu, show the menu. When you click on about Firefox, show a dialog. And so what you do is a lot of your code is in event handlers. And so you set up an event handler saying that when somebody clicks on get help, do this code. And so, yeah, you can have an event that takes place when the background changes, but we're going to show you an even better way of doing this. So she's going to dance around a little bit, and then she's going to say like hello, or like what is your favorite food? Okay. Now, the way that a lot of students will try and do this is like, okay, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. And so on Calvret over here, we could do a wait. There's the wait. There it is. So we can have him wait for 5 seconds, and then he could say, I don't know. I like lasagna. Like he can spell lasagna. Like he's Garfield or something. So 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. Then he says, I like lasagna. Okay. And this is really dicey because, like, let's say now that we're like, we need to move her out of the way because that dialogue's kind of in the way. So we're going to add another slide over here. We're going to glide her back to the center here. And glide here. And then do one more. Next costume, why not? Just for fun. And now our timing is screwed up. Do you guys see what the problem is? He's actually gonna like interrupt her words, right? And so it becomes really annoying to program code this way because you have to compute all the number of seconds that the other people are doing. And then if those change, you have to change this too, and it becomes really untenable over the long term. So what I'm going to show you guys is a better way of doing this. And that is for you to use event-driven programming, which is really, really powerful. it's pervasive in any sort of real world thing where you've got buttons and things like that. Like the code for, the menu drop down doesn't run until you click, right? And so it's a different way of thinking about things, and it's really powerful, and it's just all over the place in the real world. So in Scratch, here's how we do it. So I want her to do her little animation. She's going to like go this way and that way and this way and then down. And then she's going to ask, what's your favorite food? After she finishes saying, what's your favorite food? I am going to broadcast a message. And the message that I'm going to broadcast, new message, food question. Okay. Now, all of the actors that are in the Scratch world receive that event. And by default, they don't do anything with it. But we can handle it. So this is something called an event handler. And so rather than him doing this, where he's like counting 5 seconds, it's really hard to program correctly. Instead, I'm going to have a different event. This is one event here. When we click play, that runs. But now, when I receive food question, now he says, I like lasagna. You see that? And then D-Money over here, he can also have, when I receive food question, let's say, I like mom's spaghetti. Right? 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. At the end of this, she sends an event, and then both of these guys get the event, and they all activate at the same time, and now they're speaking over each other. So maybe I want D-Money here to like slide down here, and I will glide him over there. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. What's your favorite food? Broadcast. He slides. I like lasagna. I like mom's spaghetti. Cool. Now that he's said I like mom's spaghetti is done, then he can send an event as well. So he can broadcast a new message saying, I don't know, knees weak, arms are heavy. And then we can have Anina here say when she receives knees weak, arms are heavy, she might, I don't know, switch costumes and weight. And then have her say, oh my gosh, there's vomit on your sweater already. And then she can send out another message saying vomit or something like that. And then D-Money over, Calvert, let's say, he can, when he receives vomit, he goes, ew. And then he can send another, event. And then D-Money could be like, I don't know, when I receive, he will, next costume, and then think to himself, doesn't matter what you name it. Yeah. So like the name of the label, I mean, the name doesn't matter, but you have to match it up, right? And so I am nervous, he thinks to himself, but on the surface, he looks calm already. So we'll do that, and then switch costumes again, and then move again, and change the backdrop to the baseball court, and then to drop bombs. Okay. So we got 1, 2, 3, What's your favorite food? Both these guys activate. Like Mom Spaghetti, when he's done, she animates again. She says, that's perfect for vomiting too. I'm nervous. And then he moves over here and he says, I'm ready to drop off. Anyway, so there you go. So that's how you can like tie together different sections of code. You can have all the actors sort of synchronize that way. Do you guys understand this principle here? So you can have a person do an animation, and then when they're done with the animation, they broadcast an event. And then everybody can receive that event and then do something, and then they can broadcast an event, and then everybody can receive it and then do something and then broadcast an event. Then everybody receives it. And you can just chain together different parts of your animation that way. Okay, and so for those of you that have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, let me play the video for you, and then I'll show you. Now, the better version is the Mom Spaghetti version, which I'm going to pause the stream for because I don't want to get copyright struck. So there you go. Spaghetti comes once in a lifetime. Yo. It's the all spaghetti version of Lose Yourself. So let me show you some of the videos from new window. Here we go. So the epic deontological concert. Actually, let me show you the one with the cats or something. What's going on? You thought it was a real song? It sound yeah. The All Spaghetti remix actually sounds pretty good. Like they cut it together really well. All right, you guys ready for this? Let's full screen it. There we go. Here we go.
What's the matter?
A coyote is after my babies.
Head to the pavilion.
Ah.
I know they're in there. Feline.
Who?
My dinner.
They don't seem to be on your plate at the moment.
That's why I need to get in there. Feline. Please, unlock the fence so I can eat. If I don't eat today, I won't have any energy to hunt tomorrow and I'll surely die.
I'm sorry, but both my owner and I are firm believers of ethical hedonism.
What are you babbling about?
If I let you in, you'll satiate your hunger and live to see another day. But the lives of 5 ducks will be lost. I'm also quite sure my owner won't be too thrilled if it turns out a coyote entered his backyard, and I myself don't want to witness your savagery in person. By ethical hedonism, I will not let you in since you will only satisfy yourself while causing pain to 5 ducks, me, and my owner.
You're kidding, right? You slimy little rascal. You better hope I don't get in there. And you better hope I don't ever see you wandering beyond these gates.
Rest here tonight. You can all leave tomorrow.
The cat is right and the math is simple, a ratio of 7 to 1. The coyote will have to find other prey tonight.
There you go. So that was the world premiere of something. I don't know. So that would be an example of a what we're looking for here. All right. Excellent job on that one. And then of course we have this one here, which is about Darude Sandstorm, which is another meme. So let me see if I can get the audio working right on this. okay. All right. There you go. So that is a deontological concert, I guess. I don't know. But that involves Darude Sandstorm, which shoot is probably going to get me copyright struck. Oh well. So, uh, my response was, "Who doesn't like Darude Sandstorm?" Okay, so that's basically that's pretty good for this. You guys should be able to do the two backdrops, move the things around, have them synchronize. And again, I'm going to be showing these movies to my daughter, so make sure the stories are targeted really at a fifth grader, and it should have like some obvious moral to it, like an Aesop's fable. Um, my daughter awards extra credit, and so people that turn it in early have a greater chance of getting extra credit because she gets bored grading. So the earlier you submit it, the more likely you are that she will be like, "I like that one, Daddy," and you get an extra point. All right. What if it's really done, but she doesn't like it? Sucks to be you. You got to know your audience. So we're not here to make art. We're here to win an Oscar. You know what I mean? So. And yeah, like for me, like the sprite on that, like the guy's like this, like absolutely amazing. Does she like Shrek? I don't think so, actually. So you have to impress a fifth grader. I know, right? Like I've had students in the past before, like try like really pandering to her, like we're gonna put like My Little Ponies and stuff like that in, and sometimes works. Sometimes like, are you not entertained? That's funny. So, but yeah, a lot of times she's like, you know. So, what does she like? I don't know. Heavy metal is a easy easy answer on that one. Rammstein in particular. She used to watch My Little Pony. Not recently. You don't know. I do know. I just don't want to make it too easy on you guys. Um, Pusheen is a big thing for her. Yeah, like don't yeah, if you make it too obvious that you're pandering, then yeah, it usually doesn't go very well. Baby metal, yeah. She like Kung Fu Panda, probably, yeah, I think so. Um, what was mean, Taj? She like anything that makes her laugh. Glitches in video games. Cyberpunk 2077. Paw Patrol. She's too old for that. She's not a big fan of Disney either. So don't. Oh, that I don't know. Well, it's yeah, it's a thing of like I don't know how easy I want to make it for you guys to get the extra credit. Yeah, like things like Frozen and things like that. Like, no, not really. So, um, you can't see me. Let's see here. Or are you just talking? Okay. Superheroes. Yeah, probably Thor and unicorns. She loves Thor and unicorns. Or am I just trolling her now? I don't know. Uh, whenever she like needs help with like a school assignment, like I'll she's like I don't know what to write. I'm like, here, I'll do it for you. I'm like, on Wednesday, Thor rode a unicorn into town. It's like, Daddy. Ah. So if you do videos involving Thor riding unicorns, you will help troll my daughter. You probably won't get the extra credit, but be great. Be a great troll for her. Daddy, why are all these movies involving unicorns? Yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder, right? Thornicorn. Yeah, you can see some of the AI art from. Let's see if I can find some of these examples on here. I did an AI art competition last semester in this class, and one of the themes was metal, and so Kitten's playing a metal band, and one of them was Thor riding a unicorn, and some of these things turned out like that's Thor as a unicorn. Pretty. It's, I don't know if I want to say pretty amazing, but then of course you have Thra, famous superhero Thra. He doesn't have a hammer; he just has a stick, and the unicorn has two horns on it, so it's a bicorn. Thor as a unicorn. Where's the one that won? This might not be appropriate for. I like that. I like that one. That one's not bad. Where's the one that won? Look at that guy's face. Lord, I don't know what's going on there. This is how I troll my daughter. It's all AI generated artwork. That one's not bad. This one's actually not bad. Looks like a stuffed animal unicorn. That one's actually kind of nice. I like that one. Okay. Anyhow, so are you gonna do a similar assignment? We could. Yeah. Probably. AI is like pretty hot right now. To use that meme. There's a lot of changes in the world that are taking place, like the Chat GPT thing, right? Like I said, I'm not too concerned about it because students will get caught and punished, and they'll know that. For my one of my tests I just gave, about 15% of the students cheated on it using Chat GPT that I could detect, right? And so it's entirely possible that students will need to be like referred to deans and have the hammer of Thor thrown at them to not use ChatGPT. I don't know. So yeah, so we could do an AI art assignment. That would actually be pretty fun. Okay. So anyhow, So the storyline, I think you guys have a good idea on it now. Technically doable, even for those of you that have never programmed before. Like, do you guys kind of have an idea of how to make this thing happen? Yeah, some of those ChatGPT essays, pretty solid. Some of them were actually like pretty hard to tell which was which. You've already developed the storyline. Have fun with it. Exactly. Just have fun with it, and don't worry too much about the extra credit for it. Okay. But as always, make sure you share your project. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about cryptography now, and let's see here. So cryptography, we'll talk about for the last 10-ish minutes of class. So cryptography is the notion that you want to send a message to somebody, and you don't want the message to be intercepted. Like, this is a long-standing problem in like the military, right? Like Hannibal, who invaded Rome successfully over the Alps and completely kicked the ass of the Romans for like 10 years in Italy with no support from home. Like, he was just running around Italy, just like kicking the Romans in the belly over and over again, to the point where the Romans were just afraid to fight him, and they would just like run away from him every time he approached them. And all they would do is build walls around him. Basically, they were just like trying to quick wall him. in Age of Empires terms. Uh, he got support from his brother. His brother sent a message to Hannibal saying, "Hey, I'm crossing the Alps." His brother did, in fact, successfully cross the Alps, much easier than Hannibal had, because at that point the Celtic tribes of Cisalpine and Transalpine Gaul were quite friendly with them because they were kicking the asses of the Romans. The brother sends a message to Hannibal. The message gets intercepted. The Romans march north with their entire army and kill the brother, march south and throw the head of the brother at Hannibal. And that was basically Hannibal's last chance to actually seize Rome, because the brother actually brought siege engines. And Hannibal did not have siege engines to destroy the walls of Rome. And so he was unable to capture Rome. So that's why cryptography is important. Or in the Civil War, some soldiers saw a cigar lying on the ground, so they picked it up to smoke it, and it had the battle plan of, I think, Lee in it, and so they turned it over to McClellan, if I remember the story right, and yeah, should have encoded that. You know what I mean? So it's yeah, and so cryptography is enormously important these days. Like anytime you go to a bank, make sure that you see this little lock symbol, right? So if you go to like Bank of America, BOA, Bank of America, Bank of America, Bank of America, look at that lock symbol. You know, if you don't see that lock symbol there, you should not do business with whichever website is pretending to be a bank, because banks basically will mandate that you have to have a secured connection. Because if you don't, what happens is that anybody on the internet can sniff your username and password that you're using to secure your bank account. So always look for that lock. If you mistype it like I did and go to Bank of America, you know, it's very like a very common scam is that somebody sets up a website that is one typo away from the bank. And we'll see here if Bank of America actually pulls up anything. But yeah, Amazon, you know, not Amazon, but like Amazon, you know, you know, it's quite common for scammers to set up websites like that, and then when you submit your username and password to them, they say, yeah, okay, so that doesn't work. But cryptography secures your connection to the bank so that nobody can eavesdrop on your connection with the bank. They know you're connecting to the bank because the connection itself can't be hidden unless you use a VPN, but they don't know what you're sending. And let me give you an example of like what life was like before people were securing their connections this way. Back in the day, everything was sent in plain text. So you would log in on your server for class using your username and password, and anybody in the same computer room as you could put your Ethernet card into what's called promiscuous mode, which is a lot less sexy than it actually sounds like. And in promiscuous mode, your Ethernet card would not just listen to connections to and from the server, but it would listen to everybody in the lab's connections to and from the server. And so you could log all of the connections coming out of the computer lab. And then when your friends log in, you can see, oh, username, C Vienna, password, I like chocolate, boom, you know, and then you can log in as them. And, you know, oh, Carson Revy, you know, his password is working together to create jobs, boom, you know, and you could just log in as all of your friends and mess with them. And that was like what we did for fun, you know, back in the 90s. We would just hack each other because it was so insecure. Like I was one of the first people to actually use SSH, which is a secure version of that, where it encrypts your connection so that people couldn't you know, just steal your username and password. So I used SSH like from the moment it came out. So I never got hacked that way. But like all my friends use Telnet. Telnet, it just sends your password. All the characters of your password just go right out in the open where anybody can see it. And then people will just capture it and then log in as them. Use 2 VPNs plus Tor plus a secure connection and a burner PC on a random Wi-Fi. and then drop your hard drive in acid after you're done every time, and then you're secure. Hit it with a hammer a few times too. So, so a friend of mine, Brian Dagenhart, who rewrote a company called Twitter about 8 years ago, I captured his username and password, and so I'd log in as him. And you think I'd like mess with him by like, I don't know, like deleting his files or something like that, which I never did. Like I don't find practical jokes like that to be funny. What I did find to be funny was answering emails as him, but not again, not being like I'm a poo poo face, and this kind of stuff. Instead, he was on a mailing list for OpenGL, which is like a 3D, um, like drawing 3D graphics on the screen. And because I'd been working in the industry, games industry, I actually had reasonably okay experience with OpenGL at that point. And so I would answer questions as him on this like international OpenGL mailing list that he was on. And I'd give these like very detailed, 2-page responses that were completely correct as him about once a week. And so he started getting these emails from people saying like, hey man, thank you so much for like these very thoughtful responses. Man, it really made a difference to me. It solved my problem. Thank you so much. And he would just get these emails occasionally. He's just baffled, like, what the heck's going on? Why are all these people being nice to me? Like, I mean, it's cool, but like, why am I getting all these thank you letters? So that was it's like the reverse pranking of somebody. People purchasing UGG boots on fake UGG websites. Yeah. Or on Facebook, like people will create fake accounts. Like I actually added a fake friend a couple days ago, and the brother of the guy was like, that's not a real account. I'm like, oh, looks like him. Unfriended him. So cryptography is very important. It secures your connection. And so the way that cryptography used to work is you would have a crypto system. You'd have some way of like encoding the message, attack at dawn tomorrow. And then you would apply the crypto system to the message, and then the people receiving it would do the thing in reverse. So for example, the most famous thing is like a Caesar cipher, where you substitute letters for numbers. Another very famous one is called ROT13, where you add 13 letters to a letter. So A becomes N, then if you add 13 to N, it becomes A. So it only works in English where you have 26 letters, but basically it's a reversible crypto system. And the trouble with it is that once somebody knows that you are doing ROT13, anybody can decode it, right? So like if you have like Chris Vienna, then his hacker name here is Poof Ivran. Taj is Vince is Evapor. It's a good hacker name. Warrenarger. That's also a great hacker name there, Jeanette. Warrenarger. It's a very elite hacker name there. So people sort of ironically use ROT13 these days to create their hacker names and things like that. Not very secure. And so basically a lot of crypto systems just did security through obscurity up until RSA came out, which was invented by Ravesh Shamiran Edelman, the RSA and RSA. And like World War II was won in part due to Turing deciphering the Germans' Enigma code. The Americans had also deciphered the Purple code by the Japanese. And when you know what your enemies are doing, it makes the war a lot easier to win. It really does. If you, like when you know where the enemy battle fleet is, like you don't like it makes a big difference. Isn't there a movie about it? Yeah, there's a terrible movie about it. If you want to not learn history, you can watch a movie called The Imitation Game, which involves Benedict Cumberbatch, and he plays Turing, sort of, or a character that's supposed to be Turing. They call him Turing, but it's not really Turing. Best adapted screenplay. It's not a good movie. It's really not. And so It has Tywin Lannister in it. But the history of the movie is just controversy. When you use the language of fact checking to talk about a film, I think you're misunderstanding how art works. No. Okay. All right. Director, look. When you're making a historical like when you're making a movie that's telling the history of something in a dramatic fashion, we understand it's dramatic, right? Like in real life, Joan Clark probably didn't look like Keira Knightley, right? Like she didn't, right? We understand that, right? It's Hollywood. We get it. However, like you have a responsibility when you're telling a historical story to have some attempt to make the facts correct. And the only fact they got correct in The Imitation Game was the war was, in fact, World War II. That's about it. Almost everything else in the movie was wrong. Almost everything. Like Turing is like, I don't understand humor. And in real life, like he had a good sense of humor. Like just everything in the movie was just wrong. And so yeah, Doctor Strange. Yeah, he was literally a Doctor Strange, right? Playing Turing. I am strange. Just I cannot recommend that movie. And then this guy saying, "You don't understand how movies work. You don't fact check water lilies. Yeah, you're making a historical drama." Okay. So yeah, it's about cryptography, but it's really not. It's just garbage. It's so inaccurate. Like Tywin Lannister is like trying to shut the project down. No, in real life, he was the commander of the whole project. He was obviously for it because he was running the project. Like, okay. So, yeah. So basically, the way that RSA works, which is how not every modern crypto system is RSA, but it gives you kind of a good starting point for understanding how it works. What makes RSA really interesting is that you can publish the details of how the crypto system works. You can publish everything about it. Here's the mathematical basis for it. And even though all of the facts of how it works are known, you still can't hack it, which is neat. So the way that it works, very simplistically speaking, is there any scratch vids you can watch up with the Thursday Summit? Yeah, this one. I mean, I just showed you everything you need and it's recorded. Did the movie say based on true events? Probably. Like it's supposed to be portraying the life of Turing, right, during World War II and the Enigma project. It's just all. It's just. It's so bad. It's so bad. And so what makes RSA different is that you can publish all the details and you still can't crack it. Okay. So the way that it works, it's based on the fundamental notion. It's based on the fundamental notion that it's easier to multiply two numbers together than it is to factor them. So that might sound weird to you because like factoring seems easy, right? Like if you want to factor the number 15, you get 3 and 5, right? But as it turns out, when you're dealing with numbers that are like 100 digits long, it's way easier to multiply the numbers together than it is to try to separate them back out. And so this is a notion of a one-way function. It's easier to go one way than it is to go the other. And RSA had this realization while drinking wine, I think, which might sound a bit weird, but if you actually look at like interviews with like Einstein and Oppenheimer and Werner von Braun and like all these like people, they've done interview, like you could find them on YouTube. Like I watched hours of like videos by like Freeman Dyson and Teller and all these people. It's really fascinating. And what they say is like usually like their big ideas come to them like while they're out walking, while they're these guys that were like I think passed out on a couch or something, drunk from wine, at MIT, and then the idea comes to them. So that's beautiful. That is amazing. So the notion is, basically you can multiply easier than you can factor. And so the way that it works is that somebody, like let's say that Jeanette is a news reporter working for The Guardian in England. And I want to send her a message and I don't want anybody able to read the email that I send her. What I do is she will publish her public key, something called a public key. And then I take my email and I use her public key to encrypt a message, and it looks like garbage at that point, and I send it to her. And even if people intercept it, nobody can read it except for her. When she gets it, she uses something called the private key, and then it decrypts the message and it turns back into a human readable email. And so if she wants to respond to me, I have to have a public key. Also, enchantment? Enchantment? I don't know if that was a Dragon Age reference or not. Minecraft, dang it. And so I publish a public key also, and then she uses my public key to send me a message. It's encrypted in flight, and then when it gets to me, I use my private key to decrypt it. And then you can have communications with your bank, with anybody online, as long as they have a public key available. And then the only issue becomes like, how do you make sure that the public keys are like, accurate, right? And so whenever you have one of these things, it'll say verified by so and so. So MIT has a public key, and the fact that that public key is legitimate is verified by a third party. And so it's like, well, how do you trust the third party? Well, they might be verified by another third party. And so at a certain level, there has to be somebody who is the root source of trust, and they've done their job verifying that somebody is who they say they are. And if those people get compromised, the whole system can come crashing down. But essentially, there's companies like VeriSign and things like this that will basically say, yes, that is in fact MIT that you're connecting to right now. So every email you send to a professor has to be encrypted now. That's a good policy. Okay, so I'll give you guys probably a textbook reading on crypto at some point. Crypto, wait, doesn't that mean like Bitcoin and stuff like that? Yeah, I guess now it does. But cryptography, we'll have you guys read about cryptography. Can you use this lecture to help you with the Scratch assignment? Yeah, that's why I recorded and uploaded it, so you guys can go back and go through the steps. And what I showed today is enough for you guys to do the assignment. Will this message get me my participation points? Is this your first time participating? Let's see. Jess, Karen. I don't know. You gotta say something a little bit more substantial rather than just like, well, this question is give me my participation points. So if you have any comments about crypto, now's your chance, because we're already 3 minutes over. So Zepeda, yeah. I don't know. Not seen much. So what is a blockchain? Nobody knows what a blockchain is. No, I'm kidding. It's a way of sort of like a verified transaction ledger is one way of putting it. Some people told me that crypto is very risky to get into. Yeah, that's like when my high school girlfriend like contacted me. She's like, "Hey, I'm thinking about putting my money to crypto." I'm like, "Don't." But it's going up. Like it's a bubble. It's a bubble. Like there's no basis for it going up. It's just everyone's buying into it, so the price goes up. You're welcome. You're welcome for leaking the test questions. Don't invest in crypto. It's a bad idea. Okay. The biggest loser principle. Yeah, you try to find a bigger sucker than yourself, and if you don't know who a bigger sucker is, then you're the biggest sucker. So, yeah, I would not. I would steer clear of crypto entirely. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. I'll see you guys on Wednesday next week. Peace out. Yeah, no class on Monday. All right, see you guys.